Hi, we're here on the second day at IFA Conference in lovely Cairns, and I'm here luckily with Richard White, the CEO and founder of WiseTech. You have an amazing software solution for the industry. Can I ask, how is WiseTech dealing with cybersecurity?
Well, first of all, it's never one thing. It's always a layered approach to what we call defense in depth. So you have to build multiple ways of defending yourself, and it's on many different approaches, many different attacks. There is things called multi-factor, which everybody really knows about now. We have segments within the system that are broken from each other, and there's jump hosts between them. We have this thing called principle of least privilege, which means that there are no administrators across the system, largely because that means that you can't really elevate yourself and an attacker can't get in. But you also have to harden your staff. You have to make it hard for them easy for them to see that there's an outside phishing attack, an email phishing attack. There's so many things here. It requires enormous vigilance, a constant ability to think about it. For instance, we have about 45 people in our cybersecurity team alone. That's probably larger than almost all of our competitors. And I think when you look at this, it's a constant battle to be better, be stronger, but to also have defenses and then recovery mechanisms so that if something does happen, you can recover very, very quickly and nobody will notice.
Yeah, in industry there has been certain attacks, DP World, Expeditors. In your opinion, what should people within the industry look for in the future with AI emerging, these type of new trends happening, which are coming on very fast for freight forwarders?
Well, look, I think there are a number of new approaches that cybercriminals are using. AI is one of them, but that tends to be to impersonate a person, to try to get an executive in the company to send some money somewhere that they shouldn't send it. I mean, if you're on an internal system like Office 365 using Teams, why would you be using WhatsApp to talk to a staff member? I mean, I've just told all my staff, you've got to confirm it with 2 people, you've got to talk to me on Teams. That's all a secure system. So that's from internal safety, that's no problem. But the real risks are that the problem of cybersecurity has become so substantial and so complex and so expensive to manage that small vendors are actually a very valid and dangerous attack vector. Our competitor in Turkey was attacked, lost control of their system. It exposed massive amounts of government information, all the military entries for imports and exports. Very, very bad for national security for Turkey, because a small vendor just couldn't build the system robust enough to be defended. Now, if what's happening these days is that cyber criminals are attacking a small vendor, laying in wait, sitting inside that vendor, not trying to ransomware the vendor, just sitting there waiting for the Trojan horse to be pushed up to piggyback on into the main system, so they go into a very large freight forwarder, and now they're inside the system, and now they can ask for a ransom. That's really bad. And if some of these companies, some of these big logistic companies have 100 small vendors to do customs worldwide. That's why we've been building a global customs system, because that means that we can harden it once and make it very global.
Security is so valuable. I guess WiseTech is holding a lot of valuable information inside its platform. But as a small businesses, what's some advice you'd give them on planning for these type of incidences?
Well, when you're using our CargoWise cloud, you are sitting inside our secure system. In fact, you are at the innermost sanctum of a very sophisticated, multi-layered network approach, a thing called defense in depth, where at every level, we're trying to protect the entry from a cyber criminal. And so for our customers, we've put an enormous amount of effort and a lot of cost and a lot of very sophisticated activity to make it safe for our customers in that system. And I think a number of big players that aren't on CargoWise have now contracted with us to have CargoWise as a backup in case their legacy system does in fact get hacked. I think the world, is starting to realise that the job of cybersecurity is a very, very complex, very expensive and very deep problem. And WiseTech is trying very, very hard to show the industry that there is an approach that is much, much safer than trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe it's a bit confidential, but I might try and ask, how many attacks probably a week does WiseTech get?
Look, any company that has a public-facing web presence has thousands of attacks an hour.
Yeah, I was just reading about the Microsoft CEO, so it's a kind of interesting.
I don't think that matters. They're attempts. They're not successful.
Yeah.
Look, we've had tiny little things happen, like somebody's been able to convince a payroll officer, someone's new to the company, that they pay it to a different account, a few $1,000s here and there. We've had cases where we've caught something that might have happened. We've caught it before it does occur, but it's sort of moved part way. But there are multiple layers of defence for us. I mean, most people are inclined to get things done, and it's a service industry, so they're kind of motivated to do things. And that's the problem in cyber attacks. You're trying to get people to do what they naturally do, but do it to a bad actor so that they get rewarded.
Yeah, they mentioned something on the panel that they're professionals, and also we're professionals always kind of looking for profit, our business growth. So it's a double-edged sword in a way.
It is. Look, I think when you're talking about financial transactions, when you're talking about giving people access to systems, when you're clicking on a link in an email from an external source, these are areas where you really need to pause and think, I'm not going to enter my credentials into an external system. I'm not going to just quickly agree to paying some money to some account. You should always double verify account details, usually through trusted mechanisms like you phone the person that you know and get them to confirm, or you look on the website to see if it matches what's on the email. There's multiple ways of doing this, but you need 2 or 3 ways of verifying those things. There's all these choices. It does make work harder, particularly in an initial instance. When someone asks you to change their account details, you double verify that, for instance. These things are all proper business processes, and it's not something we can control, because these attack vectors exist outside of the software itself. These are human frailties. But to the degree that you have to be super aware of these things, it's necessary to go calmly and slowly and think it through, and not rush to try to deliver something quickly because that's your normal go-to ability. You've just got to be very cautious about anything that could expose your credentials or the credentials of a staff member or a bank account or any of those things. That's just it's now common practice. You've got to train your staff that way.
Yeah, we have to be very risk averse. So thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights on the panel. And thank you to the team at WiseTech for everything they do in terms of cybersecurity for the industry.
Thank you very much.